Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, good morning and a happy start to a new week. Yes, Leeds United's first signing of the summer transfer window is imminent. The dominoes are well and truly about to fall. Yeah. Predicted, scouted by our main man, Andrea Russo, just 9 days ago. The guy, we don't miss a beat on the show. Ethan Ampadu is very, very close to signing for Leeds United. I think it's a great signing. I think not as a centre-back. I think the general consensus among those that know ball, and I include in Andrea and Lockie in that mix, Ethan online, who's on Twitter, we're going to share a few things that he's put together. Also, Joe Donahue, who, he knows ball, does Joe Donahue. And he did a piece, actually. We'll have a look at it. Big shout out to all the YEP Phil here and all them folks, yeah. We'll share their articles. Make sure you show them some love. But Joe Donahue actually did a piece, which he's just reshared, saying that one of the first things that Daniel Farke did at his time at Norwich was to buy a deep line, a number 6, British number 6. And he mentioned names to the likes of Harrison Reed, Ollie Skip, who we had on loan, and Billy Gilmore. And he's done something similar here in looking at Ethan Ampadu. So that further, for me, gives me proof that that's where he's looking to play him. You know what I mean? We've also been linked to Glenn Kamara as well, which is great. That must be the international midfielder that Graham Smith spoke about in a couple of articles ago. I think he mentioned it on the Inside Ellen Road podcast as well. I'm still saying that the links to or the chat about Emmanuel Dennis is also on the cards. Maybe that might change. I do not know. Like I say, transfers always moving, aren't they? Like, it's clear that a lot of the time, look, I know with the Dennis one, I have it from a reliable source who told me about the Nonto bid that was rejected. And then I also had secondhand from someone who's close to people at Forparch that also Emmanuel Dennis was being spoken about there. So he would be a top quality signing for me. I've watched some things this morning. A lot of people say prefer him off the left. Big up to my guy Connor as well. Unlucky on the mute, son. It happens to the best of us. But I think he can play through the middle, and he did that for Watford in their Premier League campaign. I know for Forest, he sort of seemed to come off the left, but I believe he led the line for Watford at the time with Sowers on the right. I may be wrong on, and maybe Delafeu wasn't there, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think he could play that number 9 role if you like. But yeah, Andrew, this day keeps getting mentioned, doesn't it? Wednesday, and the fact that Marco, leave that alone, bro. And the fact that we now looking to get signings ready, it makes you think that maybe potentially the takeover is going to be ratified soon. Bobby, you would imagine so. And I think as well, right, okay, so Dennis was off the left and they had Josh King or Cucho Hernandez up top. My apologies then. But his main position is through the middle, but he has played off the left. I don't know. Listen, he might fancy Rutter through the middle. He might fancy Joseph through the middle. I know in the Barnsley game where he got 2 goals, he also played through the middle and off the left. So it seems to me that it's very interchangeable. We've seen that with Rutter. Rutter, pulled out on the left and played that lovely ball across to Sam Greenwood, if you remember. And predominantly City was playing on the left. So there's a lot of fluidity there. So we might see interchangeable forwards. And listen, Dennis is going to fit that mold for me. But we're here to talk about Ethan Ampadu. George, 1 foot Ellis, always putting it in for the transfer Leeds kitty. Thank you. Thank you very much, mate. But it looks like we might not need it, bro. I think we're about to make moves. Do you know, my man Locks is in the chat as well. And I was going to message him because he can't throw shade on this signing as much as he wants to because he's a Welshman and they rate Ethan Ampadu. Chris Moyle says that be a joke like Tom Hanks on Castaway. I'm growing it, mate. I think I'm growing it out. Big up, Chris Moyles as well. Thank you for your support as always, mate. It's massively appreciated. But yeah, I'm growing it out. I think I'm going to give it another bash. But yes, Demar is on that thing. So right, what should we do? Let's talk about the initial article that broke the Ethan Ampadu story. And it was from the Evening Standard, I believe. And then we'll have a look at what Phil and Graham have also had to say. Ampadu. Yeah, I sent, I'll tell you what, I sent Locks, because we're always having a wind up about Winks. This is what I've sent him. Hang on.
Play Ampadu in the 6, and he dicks all over Harry Winks, boy. I think Ampadu over Winks is by far your worst ever take.
And there's been some bad ones. Stop them now. But we'll see. Right, okay. We'll see in it. Lord J. Coyle says Ampadu over Winks every day of the week. Of course we're going to say that, though. Ampadu would be class in the Championship, but hasn't been great in City A or in the Prem at Sheffield United yet. Look, the thing is with Ethan Ampadu, he's been relegated on 3 occasions now on all his 3 loans. Sheffield United and the two periods spent in Italy. But like Andrea said, his better position is in midfield. And if Leeds United look to play him there, I think we'll get the best out of him. I've just put together a YouTube short of sort of like clipped up bits of what Andrea said his preferred position is. Andrea watched him on a number of times. You know, Andrea's a footballing man, so we'll see. And I think the key point here as well is the fact that, and I think it's well worth thinking about and well worth taking note of, is of course the article that was put together by Joe Donahue. Again, like I said, wealth of knowledge, knows his stuff. One of the first things that he did when coming in, and this is why it makes me feel that he's going to be playing in midfield. Yeah, that's what I believe. Because if we look here, this was by Joe Donahue. This was done on the 4th. He says, Daniel Farke's loan strategy reveals potential Leeds United transfer hint and Brighton ploy. What he's... that might not fit, but what he's saying, incoming Leeds United Daniel Farke utilised the loan market on a number of occasions whilst in charge of Norwich, successfully signing and integrating young midfielders in particular as the team secured promotion from the Championship twice in 3 seasons. And you can see the signings that he has made. Oliver Skipp from Spurs obviously had his breakout season in the Championship, now playing for Tottenham. He had Harrison Reed on loan, which I did not know. And listen, we all know about Harrison Reed. We all rate Harrison Reed. There was a lot of comparisons made, and even when Calvin moved on, there was chat of, would you take him? Billy Gilmore, they had him on loan as well. Maybe not quite hit the heights as what everyone, first envisaged, but I think I don't know if he's returned to Chelsea or maybe signed permanently for Brighton. I can't remember now. But it's quite clear that he looks to buy English players in that position, and Ampadu would fit that mold. And that's basically what Joe states, on his tweet that he put out. And this is what Joe Donahue, just a little snapshot into what he said. For those that aren't feeling it, he said, as first summer signing additions go, a 22-year-old. This is the thing as well. He's only 22. It's mad. With 40-plus international caps, including World Cup and Euros, almost 100 appearances in Europe's top 5 leagues, and experiencing 2 different positions for less than 10 million is a pretty good going, a really sensible signing at number 6. And Joe Donahue makes that claim about him being at number 6 as well, which goes in line with what Andrea was saying. He said, wrote this when Farke joined at Norwich. The German made young British deep line midfielders his first priority in the transfer market. Harrison Reed, Ollie Skipper, Billy Gilmore all joined the Canaries in different seasons. Ampadu follows that trend. So that's good. Yeah, Alfie, this is the mad thing. I said that on the video that we did. I was like, he's only 22. He's only 22. It's mad. But that shows the wealth of experience. And listen, he's had enough relegations on his record now. He needs some promotions for me. He needs a promotion, and hopefully it'll come at Leeds United. I just want to bring up this as well from Ethan Online. Ethan Online he's a bit of a goat when it comes to knowledge on football. I really rate what he has to say about a number of players. And he was asked the question by someone on Twitter, what's his best position? He was always thought of as a centre-back. And this is what Ethan had to say. And again, it just corroborates what my man Andreas said, what Joe Donohue's saying. He says, Ampadu's ceiling as a 6 is sky high. He's always been very tenacious, had good position and anticipation, but now he's filled out his frame. He's an incredible bloodhound in midfield, snuffs out and disrupts opposition ballers like it's nothing. A top midfield general. And he's utterly fantastic on the ball too. Packs more of a final ball than 90% of DMs, and that's something that Andrea touched on the scouting report as well. Even as his game is built around being a steady, metronomic presence for the team, punch, swept, dink, drilled, brushed, either foot, inside or outside, you name it, he has it. I would have taken Ampadu as a replacement for KP, or at last part of a cohort to replace him. Player that has learned with experience in Germany and Italy, especially maturing nicely by the day. Profile that is super valuable in today's game. Easy yes from me. One other thing, actually, Ampadu strikes me as someone who will target an opposition player if he does something dirty to a teammate. I love that. And I know as a Leeds fan, we would all love that. No fouls is the sign of a soft underbelly. If you're a midfield enforcer, isn't going to lay down the law, who will? And I think that if that doesn't get you excited by people that know the game, then, I don't know what will. Yeah, exactly, Jamie. Competent at centre-back, can fill in there, but his attitudes give him, or his skill sets give him more potential as a 6. And not all managers have realised that. But I believe, based on what we've read, what's been written, what people's thoughts are, that Daniel Farke will see him as a number 6. We'll see him as a deep-lying midfielder. Being able to pick it up. He's composed on the ball and be able to pop it round and get it out to the wing, as Andrea said, and up to the front man. And like he said, he's got a better final ball than 90% of other midfielders. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited by the potential of Emmanuel Dennis. Let's wait to see if there's anything more comes out on that from those that are much more in the know than myself. And also, I heard Matthias Norman. I'd heard. I mean, I still think we move for Nat Phillips as well. By the way, I still think Nat Phillips is a goer, and he'll be at centre back. Him and Creswell. I believe Creswell played really well against Barnsley. Just FYI, they'll be back today officially. Nonto should be back. Looks Leeds United are standing there, staffing the mast and saying, "You shall not pass." If you want to take this guy, you're going to have to pay top cheddar. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And when we spoke about, we will go into some more articles, but I just want to pick up another article that Joe Donohue did this morning, actually. And I think we were chatting about maybe Leeds United nearing to clear the decks. Yeah. Locks, man, I think this. I told you this yesterday. I do not rate Harry Winks. I told you this yesterday. You don't need me to say it live on air. Okay. Kilgalla 1981, thank you very much for your super chat. It massively helps the channel, folks. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Right. Okay. So this is another thing. So we mentioned about Leeds United having to clear the decks. Now, they've got to be close to completing that. And the reason I say that is, and Joe Donohue's done a piece related to it on the YEP, is the fact that they have an amount of loans that you can make. Okay. And Leeds are getting closer to that. I mean, we've loaned everybody, haven't we, at end of day? We've loaned Rocker. That was confirmed. We've loaned Koch. We've loaned Christensen. We've loaned Llorente. And we've loaned Brendan Aronson. And we can only loan out a maximum of 7 players. Okay. Age 21 or over. So some of the other players that might be involved, that might be looking for moves, will have to be permanents. Because when you talk about players like Meslier, over players that might be angling for moves, they're not going to get loan moves because Leeds United are almost becoming too close to that line. So that might fall in line with, you know what, we've cleared the decks a bit. They're out on loan. If these players are staying with us, so you've got to put in people like Meslier. He's over the age of 21. If someone wanted to take him with a loan with a view to permanent, you've got Sinisterra. Again, he could have a lot of traction. You've also got Jack Harrison. You know, I know Nonto falls under that bracket and the likes of Perkins, etc. I believe Perkins will go out on loan, but there's some of the more senior pros or some of the more, you know, those that are over 21 that within the squad, we're running out of spots for that. Yeah. So for me, it seems almost like a case like, you know, we've cleared the decks. You know, we've got these players out in loan, 5 in total, probably more than would have preferred permanence. But, you know, these other players, if you want them, you'll have to pay. Just for those asking questions over if it's international, we can have a look at the article, but it does say Rockers Betis, which means Leeds will only be permitted to sanction 2 more international loans for senior players this summer per FIFA transfer restrictions. But if you look at someone like Meslier or Sinisterra for that matter, I think it would be abroad. It's looking like, because Meslier thinks he's number 1 somewhere. He's not going to get number 1 in the Premier League, so he's going to have to move abroad, maybe to France, etc. So it becomes an international loan. Again, with Sinisterra, someone could take him, but I think maybe more likely to maybe go back to home. Although, to be fair, I think knowing what Rafinha did in Ligue 1, I think, you know, Sinisterra would light it up and then probably from there get an even bigger move if indeed he does look to move. So, yeah, that's something worth factoring in. You know, that international loan window now is, you know, is sort of shut for Leeds. 2 more spots, of course, but... Jamie says, I think Meslier stays. Leeds want 25 million, apparently. Listen, in the Championship, and I know people might disagree with me here, but in the Championship, if Meslier was to be number 1, it won't really bother me, if I'm being totally honest. We know he can do it there. He's okay with his feet. I prefer us to go out and get another keeper, I can't lie. But if no one's going to pay for him, then I don't mind it. Come on now. He was sufficient quality, especially in the Championship. And last year, don't know. Let's wait and see, isn't it? Let's wait and see. But let me just discuss with you, go back to the article that broke the story this morning. This was by Nizar Kinsella. This was 2 hours ago. On the Evening Standard, so we'll have a look at that. Yeah, over 700 in the chat. If you haven't already, please do smash a like on the video for me. So this is the article, Evening Standard, Leeds bid for Chelsea defender Ethan Ampadu amid Premier League interest. So again, that's important to know that Leeds United have moved fast. The 22-year-old is ready to leave Stamford Bridge permanently after a number of loan moves. Remember, he's in his final year. Chelsea are looking to clear the decks any which way they can. They're streaming down their squad. They're trying to farm players out to Saudi. Still need to get rid of Aubameyang, Lukaku, number of names. I know he doesn't fall quite in that bracket, but he's been there a long time. They'll be happy to get him off the books, okay? Chelsea are weighing up an offer from Leeds United for Ethan Ampadu. 22-year-old has been included in Pochettino's squad for the pre-season tour of the US, but could now stay behind to wrap up a move, a bit like Emmanuel Dennis, who's also stayed and not gone to Spain with Forest. The Wales international also has interest from clubs in the Premier League, Italy and Spain, but Leeds' bid so far remains the only offer on the table. We're led to believe it's close. Let's hope we can get it over the line. Udinese, whose owners are also controlled Watford, are among the clubs interested in the versatile midfielder who can also play in defence. So remember, there's a lot of competition out there. He spent 2 years, though, in Italy. Maybe he wants to return back to the UK. Ampadu were trained with the new manager Pochettino last week, has just 1 year left on his contract, and Chelsea are open to sell him for around 12 million. Hopefully, Leeds United can reduce that fee, knowing that they need to get rid. Hopefully no one else enters the fray, and Leeds United can play hardball a bit. Ian Matheson, again, that's just about Chelsea now. Casadei, Leicester fan, asked me about Casadei. Knowing Andrea and his ball knowledge and he's Italian, he's raved about this kid. So if Leicester do get Cesar Casadei on loan, then it'd be a great acquisition for Leicester. And listen, as much as I banter with Locks, Leicester have made some shrewd moves, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on. So that was the original piece, and then Graham Smith put together an article. I want to go through this because Graham Smith drops another name in there as well, which you're all aware of now. It's Kamara, Finnish international, who's, I think, coming to the end of his deal at Rangers, perhaps. So again, a lot of this will just be the same as what we've just read. But there we go. In terms of clearing the decks now, there's been a lot of exits. You can see there Aronson, Rodrigo, Llorente, Koch, Rocker. The squad needs surgery. It's about time we started focusing on ourselves. Thanks to Orta and the ones that came before, you know, leaving us with this shit show in terms of having to say to these players, all right, you can go out on loan. We need to now start building. And hopefully Nick Hammond, along with Angus and of course, the fact that we're making this signing and knowing what we touched on earlier about Farke's first signings at Forest with the likes of Gilmore, Reed, and who else was it? Skip. This stinks of Farke, which is a good thing, right? So the exits, which may not have finished, given the uncertainty over Melier, Firpo, and Nonto, Jack, and Adams, there may be more. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see when we see the footage, right? Because they're supposed to return today officially, although Somerville and Creswell were involved. The other day. Boys, go out if you're going to start scrapping. We know that they were involved. Look, there we go. A full taker of the club by 49ers Enterprises, which is shortly expected to receive full EFL approval. I keep hearing Wednesday from people. Yeah, you know what I meant, Russ. Sorry. I know he was, bro. I know he was. Sometimes I do. Says they're a great signing for Leicester. We definitely need to look into the loan market. And I think we will, Jamie. I think we will. But we do need to look into loans, and we could have maybe loaned, you know, Ampadu, although he's in his last year, so maybe they're not as daft like us with Koch. But I like that we're signing this permanently. It's giving him a home. It's giving it. I mean, he's 22. He's still 22. It's an unbelievable bit of business. Like I say, 44 caps at the age of 22, playing at the World Cup, at the Euros. It's exceptional. Has experience, like we say here, at RB Leipzig in Germany, Sheffield United in the Prem, Venezia and Spezia in the Italian leagues. Do you know what I mean? I think at 22, it is unreal. Broja on loan would take him, mate, but I think he gets given a chance by Poch. They haven't got a number 9, have they? They haven't got a centre forward. Unless they go with that Jackson fella. But a lot of it, like Nkunku and that, they need like a focal point. Oh, there we go. Russ says, likely to be Thursday for EFL ratification, because I understand EFL meet every Thursday to ratify takeovers. There you go then. So it may well be Thursday, but it's coming. It's coming. So look, 60 Serie A appearances along with 26 in the English top flight. For 22, for less than 10 million, if Leeds can make that work, I think it is unbelievable bit of business and a great signing. Leeds have high hopes of returning centre midfielder Tyler Adams this summer, but need to bolster the middle of the pitch regardless. Rangers midfielder Glenn Kamara is another potential target they have been assessing in recent weeks. 27-year-old Finnish international looks set to depart Ibrox this summer as a number of interested clubs eyeing him up. Like, that would be, in order to bring in Ethan Ampadu, and then also you brought in Glenn Kamara alongside, you know, Darko JB, Archie Gray. Does this signal the end for Adam Forshaw? Potentially. I believe a deal was on the table. Maybe Daniel says it's okay. It's okay. We'll have to wait and see. I think it's good. And it's positive. You know, it's quite funny because someone tagged me in something on Twitter which said, like, Leeds fans, oh my God, we're not signing anyone. And then when we're linked to someone, don't want him, he's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? That's it. But for me, there's nothing bad about this. There's nothing bad about this signing for me. What's bad about it? I guess the only bad thing is he's been relegated on 4 occasions or something, 3 occasions at his last 3 clubs. But there is not a chance, and you can click this up, that we get relegated. Not a chance. Famous last words, people. Famous last words. But yeah, let's have a look. Michael Yates says, think we can keep Adams. Want to sell Bamford. Think Ampadu would be a good signing. I think Ampadu would be a great signing as well. Yeah, it's we'll have to wait and see. There's been chat of Darlow as well. We're going to dip into Phil Hayes' article as well to see what he's had to say about Ethan Ampadu. But things are definitely starting to fall. Yeah. Simon Johansson now reporting it as well at The Athletic to say that as Phil here reports, Leeds are close to signing Ampadu. The time has come for him to get a permanent move so he can get on with his career and end the loan cycle. Will be a great signing for Leeds. I think it'll be a fantastic signing as well, you know. Hopefully we'll hear some more. As we know, we're interested in Glenn Kamara. There we go. We shall see. Now let's have a look. Someone's just tweeted this, and this is so true. Look, this is what we were talking about. Oh no, not him. Look, literally perfect for us. He's shite. That's it. That is it. He's not shite at all by any stretch of the imagination. Big up. Thank you, Michael, for your super chat. Right, let's dip into what Phil's article says. So, Leeds United close to signing Ethan Ampadu. Clubs are currently in talks over a potential permanent deal for the 22-year-old centre-back who can also play in defensive midfield. He's had 4 loan spells. Again, as we said, some top clubs in there and great experience. And he's made just 12 senior appearances for Chelsea. He made his debut at, I think, about 17. I would prefer Ampadu Scott personally. I just think with him being 22-year-old, the sky's the limit. If we play him in the right position, he's great with the ball at his feet, as many people have said. And I think if we played him in midfield, we would get the best out of him. And knowing that Daniel Farke has worked with the likes of Gilmore, Harrison Reed, and Ollie Skip, who are all, you know, decent players in their respective position, then I think it's a no-brainer for me and a great signing. And one that looks like it could be done pretty ASAP. Just waiting in the wings like the likes of Nat Phillips and co. Let's go. Bam, bam, bam. Imagine we get like a triple signing or something. Like, that would be class. You know, gone are the days. Do you remember, because of social media and that, and it coming through dribs and drabs, but do you remember when you used to sign like a couple all at once and then they would all be pictured in the same shirt together? It very rarely happens, that, right? It very rarely happens. And the last time I can remember is like Jimmy Kebby and what was his name? Stuart? No. Hall. Was it Hall? No, it wasn't Hall. What was his name? Cameron Stewart. And then being there. So it'd be nice if we had something like that. Do you know what I mean? Jay says triple threat. Yeah. Brozier and Nonto going to Everton, Joe. I don't. Well, maybe unless Pochettino's had a look at Brozier and don't fancy him. I thought he'd get a chance off the bench. At least he had that horrible break. As for Nonto, I don't believe a second bid's gone in past the 15 million with add-ons that was originally mentioned. So yeah. Just to round off as well on the keeper situation. So it's been talked about at Newcastle World to say that Leeds United appear. This was just today as well. So here's an update on that. I'll just quickly, with GFH in the middle, you know, Damar, exactly. So this has just been reported. Leeds appear to be as well. I mean, there was some and them off. Appear to be leading the race to sign Newcastle goalkeeper Carl Darlow after Championship rivals Hull City withdrew their interest, which we know about. Rossini has actually revealed Hull have been forced to admit defeat, with Newcastle wanting 5 million. Let's have a look. Let's see what else a bit. Darlow played the first half of Newcastle's opening pre-season friendly at Gateshead on Saturday afternoon, but he's still expected to leave St James's Park 9 years after joining from Forest. Leeds are considering a move for Darlow, as are Bournemouth. Middlesbrough have also shown an interest, but at this stage are unlikely destination. Asked if one of club's goalkeepers could leave this summer. House said maybe. A lot of unknowns. It's difficult to give any clarity because anything can happen from this moment. We're training the group very well. I think he comes in. He said, we haven't got Dubravka yet and we haven't had Nick back. So although you say we have 5, we've only been training with 3, but they will return. Nick Pope's injured. They've got Dubravka. They obviously brought Laureus Karius on a free. So it's curtains and game over for him. So I think Caldalo hopefully will be the goalkeeper. But you don't know whether Meslier might stay, but I think the club will look to try and move him on, and I think Meslier wants to move on as well, doesn't he? So we'll wait and see. But yeah, Leeds United positives. Looks like we're about to make our first signing. It's imminent. Now, what I will say, and I have to say this to myself as well. It might go quiet now until the EFL's ratification happens, which could be Wednesday, or if Russ is right about it, it could be Thursday. Try not to lose your marbles. And that I'm talking to myself here as well, because it might take a few days, but it sounds like it's imminent. Now, if the club do make the signing, then it's clear that the ratification isn't holding us up. Do you know what I mean? If they do make it before it's officially announced, I wonder if they're disappointed that this has made it out there, because it's clear no one, apart from Andrea Russo, no one mentioned Ethan Ampadu. And then bam, it's almost done. A bit like Nick Hammond, etc. So hopefully it'll be done tonight, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm positive. I'm happy. Thanks as always for showing the love on the channel. I'm going to do some Twitch a little bit later on, so join me for that. I'm going to eat some food, then jump on Twitch, and if anything else breaks, we'll maybe chat a little bit later on. But yeah, they're moving in silence, but it's cool. It's cool. I'll keep you updated as and when I get news. There we go. Russ says Huddersfield and Birmingham's ratifications have all been announced on Thursdays. There you go then. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Leeds are moving. Are moving in silence, very similar to Liverpool, and it's a similar kind of setup as well. And with it being, in America, there's something in that as well. But thanks for the love. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, Leeds United are making moves, which is a positive for us, folks. I'm really happy.